Macintosh.
Hey everybody, this is Eric from Eric's Edge, and happy Macintosh 2022. I made a mistake. I was supposed to include linking and printing in the first module and completely forgot to add it, so we're going to take care of that right now. Let's get started. Linking and printing. This is the final guide to browsing. So quite frequently, a HyperCard stack will contain a table of contents to assist with browsing, especially if the stack has a lot of cards in it. A table of contents can be a very simple text reference listing the subjects. Often the information is organized into subject areas, and if there's a lot of information, those subject areas may have an area underneath each one. So it's common to present a two-section interactive table of contents on a card. And there's a really great example of that inside your home stack, and that is the HyperCard AppleScript reference. And we're going to take a look at that right now. Okay, so we've loaded that stack. The way this works is you've got a section over on the left-hand side that has various topics. Let's pick objects, for example. And then over on the right, you get subtopics for each topic. And you can click on one of those subtopics. Takes you to the first card of that topic. This one's about objects. And there is more, so you can click the more and it'll take you to the next card and shows you the end of the topic. You can get back to the main topics with this button. So as you can see, it's a fairly simple system. Another technique you can use, and this is quite powerful, is that you can use links between chunks of information in your cards, just like you would web page links. You can also create what are known as programmatic or intelligent links. So you can have a bit of information on a card, make it clickable, and that information is used to figure out where to go instead of it being statically linked to a specific location. The apartment stack uses this technique to navigate from a calendar date to the card for that date. But anyway, there'll be a lot more techniques we'll talk about later when we get to programming. That gives you just a taste of what you can do. Alright, on to printing. So, printing in HyperCard is actually pretty good. It's not as simple as just print the stack or print the card. It actually has a reporting function that's built into it too. So we're going to go through this. It's a little bit involved. You can do printing of reports programmatically and things like that. So I think it's important that we cover it. The first thing you have to do is do your page setup. If you got a printer defined, I've got a PDF printer set up. That works well for me because I don't have a Macintosh capable printer anywhere. So that works pretty well. One of the things that you want to do, if your printer has the capability of doing a higher resolution than the graphics and fonts that are built into the card, you can turn smoothing on in a lot of these drivers, and that will help make the aliasing on lines and stuff like that look a lot better. The other thing to note is if you set it up for landscape printing, the way landscape printing works, it has to turn all the graphics to print in landscape, and that takes quite a lot of time. So you might want to consider not doing landscape printing. But you want to do all of those page setup adjustments before you start working with reports or printing, because some of the things are dependent on your page setup. Page setup can be found here on the File menu. And I'm using the Acrobat PDF Writer. So I've got it set up for a standard letter, portrait, scale's 100%, etc. Pretty simple. Okay, so one of the first things that you can do, simple things, is you can print a field. The print field command. sends the contents of the field on a card to the printer. So it's a pretty straightforward and simple thing to do. Let's go ahead and try it. So we're going to go up to Print Field, which is under the File menu. Brings up a dialog. There's only two fields defined on this card, the title and the body. Let's do the body. Do you want to use the width of the field that's built into the stack to print it or not is an option there. These are background fields. I don't have any card fields on there. You could select between background and card. Hit OK. It's now preparing to print. Okay, so it drops that on your desktop as Untitled. I already have an example here where I printed a field. Let's open that. Okay, so there you can see the text, none of the graphics will print, but the text from the field is actually included here. If you look at the entire page, you can see that it takes up the top part of the page. So it's a very simple way of just grabbing the contents of a field on a card and printing it, like the address for somebody. Okay, so let's close that. Get back to the stack. All right, print card. Kind of the logical next step here. And it simply prints the current card using your page setup. You get one full-size card per page. So let's try that. Sorry, File menu, Print card. Again, it drops it onto your desktop. Ah, there. Now you can see that we've got the entire card. All right, and then the next level up, of course, is to print your stack. Now, you may not want to print the entire stack. Maybe you only want to print 3 or 4 cards from it. Well, there's a very cool feature where you can mark a card, and it's marking it for inclusion in printing. To do that, you open up the command window, and you say mark this card. Very simple. That card is marked. Let's go to the previous card. I'm going to mark that card too. And let's do the field card. Alright, so we got 3 cards marked. You could unmark one card by saying unmark this card. You can also unmark all cards. So that's kind of convenient. Let's go to the print stack menu. And you can see it gives you a little graphic representation of what it'll look like for the layout. You can alter that to include more cards, or you can change it to just a couple of cards. You can control the position of it. You can mess with the margins. You can spread them out a little bit. There's quite a bit of tweaking that you can do here. You could select to print the cards 1/3 size, 1/4 size, half size. I can print just the marked cards. And this is the header. The first thing is the date. The second one is the time. The stack icon represents the name of the stack. And number is the page number. This arrow indicates whether you want it to be centered. So if I only had one of these here, now it would just put the page number in the center. But since I've got two, it puts it all the way over on the right side. So let's go ahead and print this. It brings up a dialog box where you can change the name. Let's do HC printing test card stack print. No, too long. Save. Okay, it's going through and printing. You notice that it flashes through each card as it prints it. Okay, this time it put it, because you named it and selected the default path was where your stack is. It placed it here. Now if we open it up, we should have 3 cards. The field, the print field, print card, and print stack. Yep. Half side cards. Sorry, it takes a little while to render a PDF. And you've got that header I was talking about at the top. And here's your page number way over. All right. So you can do quite a bit with just these standard print routines. Okay, let's talk about reports. You can get to the print report menu from the file menu, and there's several options. It's similar to print stack, but it's more advanced. There are 16 report formats that you can define and then save with your stack. Unfortunately, you can't move them to another stack. They're not separate files that you can save. But what you can do is you could clear out a stack and then use that to create a new application with those same reports in it. A blank stack, if you will. So the other thing is HyperCard reports, the report designer, is not very user-friendly. You do a lot of nested dialog boxes to define everything. So we're going to jump in and out so I can cover each dialog box as you go through it. So the first thing you do is you go up to File and Print Report. Now it brings up the last report you were working on. We're going to go under the Reports menu and do New Report, so we can create a new one. Asks you for a report name. Let's Eric New Report. Okay. Now you can print just marked cards or all cards in the report. So let's just do the marked cards, so it'll be a little bit shorter of a report. We're going to alter the layout here because I don't want tiny little cards. I'm actually going to do 2 cards per page. All right. And for a header, I'm going to put the date, the time, then I'm going to put the stack name, and then the page number. And I'm going to put page in here. So the stack name will appear in the center, the page number will be on the right, and the date and time is on the left. Oops. I want to make sure I adjust this so that I get 2 per page. Put a little space in between here. You can set the print order. When you've got 2 stacks, like 2 cards on a page like this, it doesn't really matter. But if you had multiple ones, you could have them run across, or they could run down. All right, so let's save this. There's more that we have to do. Report item layout. From the edit menu, you can select report items to display yet another window. So let's go back to print report. Okay, we're still on Eric's new report. You can also go up to the menu and pick, and it'll give you the different reports you've saved. We want to work on Eric's. Okay, so what I want to do is you can either do edit report items, you can also change the name, or you can double click on the region for the card. Okay, so here's the report items. It's completely empty. You go up to the menu and say new item, and it creates this little dashed flashing thing for you. You see I had to scroll to be able to get the whole thing in. And what we're going to do is we're going to make that the title from our card. Okay, I'm going to create a new one. Drag it down here. Now this one's going to be the body of the card, so it's a lot more text. So I need to make this bigger, and I want to use all the space that I've got defined for this card. There. So on the top we've got the title, we're going to have the body. Let's say OK. Let's save it. Alright, now the field details. So we've defined 2 regions for fields, but we haven't said what they are. So let's get back into it. Print report. And I brought up the existing one. Double click on the card. I got my item. Got it selected. You could go to item info. Or again, you could double click on the item. Alright, it gives you background fields, because we have to work with background fields. It's the only thing that would be consistent across the cards. We're going to use the title field. We're going to change the font size. It's 9 points pretty tiny, so let's make it 12. So actually let's do 14, and let's change the style so it's bold. Alright, and we're going to center align it. Now this contradicts what's on the card itself, but for the report we want to do it this way. So, and it gives you a preview of what it looks like. So we notice, you actually have a little bit more space here. So let's go back in. Let's make it 18. Alright, that's a little better. Yeah, I like that. So now we'll double click on we're going to use the body here. Invert allows you to flip it to white text with a black body. Now, personally, I think that's kind of crazy for printing, but let's go ahead and do it just so we can see what it looks like. We're going to change the size to 12 because we've got a lot of room. The line height is fine. I'm not going to change the text style or anything. So OK. Gives you a view of what it looks like. So we'll hit OK. Now everything's defined. So let's save it. Cancel. Okay, saving the report, we've already covered that, but essentially you can save it. If you don't save it and you print it, it becomes untitled report. Again, it will show up when you're in reports. So print report. It shows up in this list. You can edit it, you can rename it. So let's rename this. Report name. Instead of Eric's new report, let's call it card details. All right. I'm going to save it. Let's print it. Okay, it asks you for a name. Card report. Save. And it runs through the cards one by one. We're doing every card instead of marked cards, so I apologize for that. I should have set that again. You can do a command period to stop the report generation. So if it's taking too long or you made a mistake like I just did and you want to stop it, you could do a command period to stop it. I'm not going to bother. Might as well just let it run. But you can see how tedious it is to go in, and you have to drill down into a maze of dialog boxes to set it up. Nearly finished. Yay! Okay, let's go see what it looks like. And where did it drop it? Here it is. Let's look at the whole page. And you can see why nobody would use inverted to print cards. The very first card doesn't have those background fields in it, so it's blank. None of the graphics print. You just get those two fields. That's it. We have gone through all the browsing and typing for the first module. We can start with authoring for the next. And then after authoring, we'll get to programming. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Happy Macintosh 2022. It's almost over. I'm going to be having a giveaway that is going to be on April 1st at 9 p.m. And I'm giving away a Raspberry Pi Zero W card. All you have to do is go to my YouTube channel. There's instructions on one of the videos that describes how to enter. It's a very simple thing. You don't have to like and follow or anything like that. You can just enter the contest. The idea was to reach 100 subscribers, and that has been accomplished as of today. Definitely going to have the drawing, definitely giving it away, so go ahead and enter. Anyone in Canada or the US. So thank you for joining me today, and this is Eric's Edge, and I will see you in the next video.